When selecting a wheelchair to meet your individual needs, there are a number of key features you should consider. The first most important feature is the chair the right size for the individual that's going to sit in it? Is it going to be wide enough? Is it going to be deep enough? And when the person's sat down, can they achieve a 90 at the knee, a 90 at the ankle and a 90 at the hip when their feet are on the foot plates? Having considered the dimensions of the person and the weight of the person, you then need to think about whether you're going to look at a transit chair, an attendant chair which has small wheels on the chair, or are you going to look at having someone who is self-propelling the chair, in which case they will need the large wheels with the rims on to propel themselves. There's nothing to stop a carer who is pushing someone having a chair with large wheels. Other things that are important when considering a chair are having brakes on the back. So if you are a carer or a family member pushing a chair, then when you come to go down a hill, or indeed when you're pushing up a hill and you need a brake, it is really useful to have handle brakes. Obviously we still have parking brakes at lower level on the wheels, so that when we stop, those brakes go on. And when someone's getting in and out of the chair, it is really important those brakes are on to stop the chair moving and make that standing up and sitting down safe. Another important feature to consider, which will make it safer when someone is getting in and out of the chair, is swing away footrests. By that I mean there's a little clip on the different chairs which allow, as you see, the footrests to swing right out of the way. So if someone is perhaps going to get up from the wheelchair, has got poor balance, reduced mobility, the fact that these swing right out of the way and will not be a trip hazard is really important. You can see on this chair I have a cushion, a 4-inch foam cushion. That is because a lot of chairs nowadays come with solid tyres. Now solid tyres is great in that you don't have to maintain them. They won't be punctured when you're out, but they do give a little bit more of a rough ride when you're going over rough ground. So by having a cushion on the seat, you are giving the person in the chair a little bit more comfort, a little bit more suspension. Another thing you might consider, which isn't on this chair but which you can get, are little lap belts, which are like seat belts on the wheelchair, so that if you do stop suddenly, you've got just that safety of a belt round your waist. The chairs are all very foldable. Most of them fold in the same way. If you're going to put it in the car, I would always recommend you take the footrests off so that they don't swing round and either catch you or your car. You can then just pull up on the middle of the seat, that folds the chair, and then there's usually 2 little clips on the back of the chair where you can squeeze and fold down. So now you've got a much more compact chair to enable you to lift it in and out the car. With some chairs, such as the big chair, the big wheels, to make it even lighter to lift in and out of the car, you would fold the chair in the same way, and then the wheels can actually come off. So you can take the wheels off to make it a much lighter, more compact piece of equipment. To put in the car, so it gives more flexibility. For some carers, pushing a wheelchair, even a lightweight aluminium chair, is still a challenge. If that's the case, they might like to consider a power pack, such as the one you see here, attached to the base of the normal wheelchair. And what you then get is 2 small wheels, a battery, and you get a handset attached up on the handlebars. We now turn the key, and you can see the light goes through red, orange, green. That means the battery is ready to go. We have a speed control from minimum through to maximum, up to 4 miles an hour, and we have a press button, which is what you have to press with your thumb as you're walking along to power the chair forward. So if I put it into, there's a back and forwards button, and if I put it into forwards, now if I were to press this button, you can see how the chair moves forwards. So if I'm going up a gradient or I'm going longer distances, this is going to take a lot of the stress and strains off me as the carer. It's got a capacity of about 10 miles. It goes up to 4 miles an hour, and necessarily you increase the power if you're going up a gradient. And finally, we have an example here of an electric wheelchair, which is controlled by the person who sat in the wheelchair. Normally, electric wheelchairs are controlled by joystick controls, such as this one here. So the joystick is put on the side of the person's preferred hand, dominant hand, and then as you can see, if I take the joystick backwards, I go backwards. If I take it to one side, I turn to that side, and similarly, if I take it that way, I turn to the other side. They are big, heavy pieces of equipment. Sometimes difficult to get in the back of the car, but they do give a lot of support to the person who's sitting in them. But it's always worth comparing them with a scooter. Some people find the joystick control easy to control, other people find it quite difficult. So when people look at these options, it's good to think about other things such as the scooters as well as an electric wheelchair.